"Say sorry to my mother or leave my home," my husband demanded at Christmas. And the room went so quiet I could hear the tree lights faintly clicking as they warmed. His mother sat at the head of the table, chin lifted, eyes already wet, victory tears, not hurt. My sister-in-law stared into her wine like it might swallow her. Somewhere behind me, a fork scraped a plate, then stopped. I tasted blood where I'd bitten my cheek, felt the familiar heat of being blamed for something I didn't break. They wanted a scene. A trembling apology. A woman folded small. Instead, I stood. I walked past the garlanded buffet, past the photos of other people's weddings, hers included, and stopped in front of his mother. She smelled like perfume and entitlement. My husband's jaw tightened. He thought he was in control. I wasn't shaking. I was done. I'm the woman they never worried about. The quiet one who remembered birthdays, smoothed conversations, paid attention. I married Daniel because he seemed steady, because after childhood spent translating tension, steadiness felt like love. His family admired me the way you admire good lighting. Useful, invisible, easily replaced. His mother, Evelyn, learned early that I wouldn't fight her. She corrected my recipes at my own stove. Rewrote my stories in front of guests. Once, she told me Daniel's ex had more fire, and Daniel laughed like it was a compliment to us both. I learned the rules quickly. Swallow, smile, survive the evening. What no one noticed was how often I was watching. How I listened when people spoke too freely after their second drink. How patterns repeat in families that prize loyalty over truth. Evelyn's devotion to appearances. Daniel's reflex to protect her at any cost. My sister-in-law Claire's tight smiles. The way her husband never met her eyes when Evelyn entered the room. I'd spent years being the emotional shock absorber. The one who apologized first so things could move on. The one who carried everyone else's discomfort like it was my job. But something shifted that winter. Not anger. Clarity. The kind that arrives quietly and doesn't leave. I saw how my silence fed their certainty. How being underestimated had become their favorite mistake. So when Daniel gave me that choice, say sorry or leave, I realized it wasn't an ultimatum. It was permission. Evelyn's voice had been soft all evening, sugar-thin. "Oh, you're serving that dish again." A pause. A smile. Daniel loves it, of course. He always has. Her hand rested on his arm as she said it, claiming territory. He didn't move it away. When I spoke, conversations bent around me instead of toward me. Someone would interrupt. Someone would check their phone. Daniel answered questions meant for me, his tone gentle but final, like closing a door without slamming it. At dinner, Evelyn brought up the argument from Thanksgiving, the one where she'd accused me of being too sensitive after she joked about my career. She laughed as she retold it, eyes flicking to the others for approval. "We all tease here," she said. "It's how we show love." Claire's husband shifted beside her. Claire didn't laugh. She pressed her napkin flat against her thigh, smoothing an invisible wrinkle. I caught her eye for half a second before she looked away. Daniel leaned toward me then, low and urgent. "Just let it go," he murmured, not unkindly. Like this was a habit I should have outgrown. The room felt staged, candles evenly spaced, plates warmed, grievances tucked just beneath the tablecloth. No one raised their voice. No one needed to. Every small dismissal landed cleanly, precisely where it was meant to. When Evelyn sighed and said, "I don't know why she's so defensive," Daniel nodded. "Just once. Barely." That was when I understood. The betrayal wasn't loud. It was practiced. And everyone in that room knew their lines, except me. Until I stood. Standing there, I felt something click into place. Not rage, not heartbreak, but alignment. Like a door finally closing behind me. I realized I wasn't fighting for respect anymore. I was auditioning for it. And I was tired of the role. Daniel's demand hung in the air, framed as reason. "Say sorry." As if the past years could be edited down to a single sentence spoken by me, neatly absolving everyone else. I looked at him and saw how certain he was that I'd comply. That certainty hurt more than Evelyn ever had. I glanced around the table one last time. At Claire, who looked almost hopeful. At her husband, pale, rigid. At Evelyn, already preparing to accept my apology with grace she hadn't earned. That's when I understood what my silence had been protecting. Not peace, but their comfort. And what my voice would cost me, the marriage I thought I was saving. I didn't plan the sentence. I didn't need to. The truth had been waiting longer than I had. I stepped closer to Evelyn, close enough that only she could hear my breath steadying. And for the first time, I chose accuracy over approval. I'd prepared for this moment without knowing it. Years of listening had given me an inventory. Who knew what, who lied about what, who was quietly drowning. I handled our finances. Daniel hated paperwork. I'd read the prenup when we signed it, asked questions the lawyer seemed surprised by. I knew which accounts were joint, which weren't, and how quickly money moved when it was frightened. Socially, too, I understood the architecture. Evelyn's power depended on silence and gratitude. Daniel's authority came from being seen as the reasonable one. Claire's marriage survived on denial. None of it could withstand daylight. I didn't need to raise my voice. I didn't need witnesses. Smart damage happens when you speak once, clearly, and let other people finish the work for you. As I stood there, I noted the exits, the front door behind me, my coat folded over the chair. My phone was in my pocket, already set to record, a habit I'd picked up after Evelyn accused me of misremembering conversations. Evidence isn't aggressive. It's patient. I knew that whatever I said next would end something. But I also knew endings aren't explosions. They're cuts, clean ones, if you're careful. So I breathed in. Let the room stay still. And then I gave them the truth they'd never planned for. I leaned in just enough that Evelyn's smile froze, still polite for the room, brittle underneath. My voice didn't rise. It barely traveled. "I'm sorry I didn't speak up sooner," I said evenly. "But since we're being honest tonight, you should know Daniel has been covering for the affair you helped him hide, and Claire's husband stopped sleeping in their bed last spring." Silence didn't fall. It collapsed. Evelyn's face drained first, like someone had pulled a plug. Daniel turned so fast his chair legs shrieked against the floor. Claire made a sound, not a word, not a cry, just breath leaving her body all at once. Her husband stood, knocking his glass over, red wine spreading like a slow accusation. "No," Daniel said, too loudly, already pleading. Evelyn reached for him, then thought better of it. She looked at me like she'd never seen me before. Maybe she hadn't. I straightened, picked up my coat. No one tried to stop me. No one apologized. They were too busy realizing how much they'd underestimated the quiet woman at the table. As I walked out, I heard arguments igniting behind me, questions, denials, names being said for the first time. I didn't look back. Some homes don't burn down. They simply tell the truth, and can't survive it. Daniel's calls went unanswered. Not by me, by everyone else. His misunderstanding unraveled as details surfaced, timelines compared. Evelyn stopped hosting. When she did appear in public, people spoke to her carefully, like she might break. Control looks fragile once it's exposed. Claire filed for separation within weeks. She didn't thank me. She didn't need to. The tightness in her shoulders was gone the one time I saw her at the grocery store. Her husband moved out quietly, the way men do when the story has already beaten them there. As for my marriage, it ended without drama. No courtroom speeches. Just signatures and a settlement that favored the person who had read the fine print. Daniel kept saying, "You didn't have to do it like that." I never asked what he meant by that. What I lost was a family that required my silence. What I gained was credibility, with myself. The kind that doesn't ask permission before it stands up. If this story matters, it's because most betrayals don't arrive screaming. They arrive smiling, asking you to keep the peace one more time. And because sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't to forgive. It's to speak once, and let the truth finish the conversation. I don't replay that night the way people expect. There's no triumph montage, no urge to sharpen the moment into something louder. What stays with me is the stillness afterward, the clean quiet of choosing myself and meaning it. In the months since, My life has gotten smaller in the best way. Fewer dinners to endure. Fewer apologies that aren't mine to give. I moved into a place with good light and no history in the walls. I sleep through the night now. That feels like proof. I'm careful with the future, but not afraid of it. I know how to read contracts. I know how to listen when someone shows me who they are. Most importantly, I know the difference between peace and silence. One costs you everything. The other asks you to be honest. People sometimes ask if I regret how it ended. I tell them the truth. Regret requires uncertainty. I don't have any left. What I learned is simple, and it took me years to learn it. You don't owe anyone your smallness. Not for love. Not for family. Not for tradition dressed up as virtue. That sentence I spoke didn't destroy 3 marriages. It revealed the cracks that were already there, and finally let me walk into my own life without apologizing.